I was with a child some few days ago and we had a conversation about math. I gave her a question of 1 plus 2 times 3. And she did 1 plus 2, 3 times 3, 9. She added this first, then multiplied the result by 3 and got 9. And I smiled. I told her, try from behind and see if you get the same answer. Let's write again. So she went 2 times 3, 6 plus 1, 7. Then I asked her which of these is correct. And she took a thought and said, most likely the 7 will be correct. She wasn't sure. And I told her, you don't know how important board math is. Sometimes the reason why you fail certain questions in an exam is not because you don't know what you're supposed to do, but you forget the fundamental rules, or you don't see the importance of the fundamental rules, which are very, very important in math. Now in board math, we have to multiply before we add. So we had to multiply first. If you had added first before we multiply, we get a different result, which is 9. Then the correct one is actually 7. Now to understand math, I actually told her that math is all about rules, and when you follow the rules, you get it. You have to know all the fundamental or all the basic rules of math. With that, you would hardly have a problem with math.
Example 2.
It is now established that 1 plus 2 times 3 is 7. What if you have the question in this format? Would it still be the same answer? Now you know there's a bracket here, and this bracket changes everything. You know in board math we have bracket first before multiplication, then addition. Now this bracket means you have to do what is in the bracket first before you multiply. So in this case you have to add 1 plus 2, that's 3, then times 3. Now we cannot remove the bracket since we've done what is in the bracket. The bracket here means do what's in the bracket first before you do any other thing. So the bracket comes before the multiplication, therefore making it that you have to add before you multiply in this case. So we can then take off the bracket. We have 3 times 3. We can have it in this way. 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So our final answer is 9.
Example 3.
Let's say we have this question 1 plus 2 times minus 3. Now, similar to the ones we've done earlier, we know board math rule applies. And we have a positive sign, a multiplication sign, then also a negative sign. Well, this multiplication sign is what we're going to work with first. And note, you have to know that a number owns the positive or the negative sign in front of it. So this 2 owns this plus, and this 3 owns this minus. And if you have a good knowledge of plus times minus will give you minus, minus times plus will give you minus, plus times plus will give you plus, and minus times minus will give you plus. When you have two same signs, the answer is always positive or plus. When you have two different signs multiplying themselves, get a negative, like in these two cases. So we come back to the question and answer it. Now we have to multiply. We're not just multiplying 3 times 2. There's a sign in front of them. We have to put the signs into consideration. Now the 2 owns the positive and the 3 owns the negative. So we can write 1. Then the sign that follows is determined by the result of multiplying these 2 with the signs in front of them. Now we'll first start with the signs. Plus times minus. That's plus and minus. Two different signs. The outcome is always negative. So we have minus. Now we have 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we've done that part. Then you have 1 minus 6. The 6 owns the minus and the 1 has a plus in front of it. Though it is not written, it is hidden. So it's like plus means you're owning or you have, and minus means you're owing. You're owing 6 oranges and you have 1. By the time you pay back with what you have, you still be owing 5. You have 1, you pay back 1 out of 6 you owe, you still be owing 5. Your answer is therefore minus 5.
Example 4.
The next question is 1 minus 2 times minus 3. Like said earlier, the positive or negative sign in front of a number is owned by that number. So this 3 owns this minus and this 2 owns this minus. And like in board math, we have to multiply first before we take into consideration the negative signs. So let's multiply. We have 1, then the sign that follows is a result of the multiplication of these two signs. So minus times minus will give you plus. Two same signs will always give you addition, that's plus. Then you have 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Here we have 1 plus 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. Our final answer is 7.
Example 5.
A child was asked to solve a question similar to this. 5 minus open bracket 4 minus 3 close bracket. And it went 5 minus 4 minus 3. Now all he did was remove the bracket and solve. Now he did 5 minus 4, 1. Then you have 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3 is minus 2. He got minus 2 as his answer, not putting into consideration board math. What you have to do, what is in the bracket first before you solve down. I know board math is bracket first before you do any other thing. Let's do it the right way. We have 5 minus open bracket 4 minus 3 close bracket. 5 minus 4 minus 3 is 1. Now we've solved what is in the bracket. We have 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. We can see we got two answers with the same question, and we know the right one is this 4. This is the right one, and minus 2 is the wrong one. This is just to show us that in math there are rules, and if you don't follow the rules you get it wrong. It's like in football, which is also called soccer in some countries. It is guided by rules. You don't use your hand while on the field. You only use it during throw-ins and the likes when the ball is outside the field or when you want to start play. Now, same as basketball, you don't take 3 steps before bouncing the ball. Same as the game of chess. There are rules guiding all these games, and if you don't follow the rules, you get it all wrong. So same applies to math. You have to know the rules guiding math and you have to follow it. So look at it now. We went through 4 minus 3, we got 1 first. Then 5 minus 1, it gave us 4. But if you have just thrown away the bracket, not minding the bracket in this case, it will be 5 minus 4 minus 3, and we are starting with 5 minus 4, it is 1. Then 1 minus 3. This 3 owns this minus, and this 1 has a plus in front of it, although not written. So we do plus 1 minus 3. You have 1, that's plus 1, and you're only 3. You get minus 2, which is the wrong one. So the right one is following this technique. Another thing I want us to know is, in case you have this math question and you can't solve what is in the bracket first, that most likely would happen when you have an algebraic expression, when you have algebra, like you have 4a minus 3. This minus sign you see here, or minus sign in general, is a very dangerous sign in math. I have to be very careful with it. If this were addition, you can just throw away the bracket and you get the same answer. But since it's negative or minus, it's very, very dangerous. Note that this 4 owns a plus and this 3 owns this minus. So by the time you're trying to throw away this bracket, this minus changes the sign of this 4 and also this 3. So we have it as this 5 minus 4. Note the 4 has a plus in front and it's changing to minus 4. Then this minus, since it's affecting everything in the bracket, so in this case, now this minus also affects the sign of this 3. If it were positive, you have positive 3 here, it changes it from positive to negative. So in this case, you have that as negative, so it changes it from negative to positive. So therefore, it's plus 3. So we have 5 minus 4, 1, 1 plus 3, 1 plus 3 is 4. So we see that solving with the bracket and solving, making sure we take note of this negative sign and its effect, we got the same answer as the right way of solving it. We therefore now know that this negative or this minus changes the positive or the negative sign of what is in the bracket. We now see that we can solve opening the bracket first. So we have it as 5 minus 4 plus 3. The minus 3 now becomes plus 3 because of this negative sign when we're throwing away the bracket. So we now have 5 minus 4 is 1. Then we drag down the plus 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. So doing it the right way, we see that we can get the same answer by throwing away the bracket. But before you throw away the bracket, particularly when it's negative, you have to make sure the negative does its work by changing the positive or the negative sign of what is in the bracket. What if you have a board maths question that comes in this form: 1 plus 2 raised to power 2 times 2? What do you do? Which do you start with? So we have our board math. Sometimes they say O is for off. This O is not just for off, it's for operations. The operation in this form means power. So first thing you do, you have to work with this 2 to the power of 2 first. So we have 1 plus 2 to the power of 2 is 2 times 2, which is 4 times this 2. So next you multiply this 4 times this 2 before you add, because you have to multiply before you add in board math. So we have 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1. Then we have 8 plus 1, 9, which is our final answer.